bit of whimsy, you know, that you sort of like you're sad it's over at the same time you're excited about getting back to tell your story, getting back on Earth, seeing people, talking about things. But there's one thing I wanted to say when people were talking about who's going to take over this. Remember, the government, NASA has done the big things. And so that's really paved the way for the commercial guys to do the other things. And so we really need to keep pushing forward and not assume that that NASA's
All right, so
finished,
now let's listen into
it
Mission
does this
Control.
one piece.
Let's listen into Mission Control here. We are just 10 seconds away.
And we have crossed the threshold, now entering the Earth's atmosphere.
Wow.
We're at 400,000 feet, traveling 34,800 feet per second. Time to splash down, 13 minutes, 10 seconds. And as predicted, we've entered our communications blackout.
Oh, well.
This will be a 6-minute blackout period. No voice, no data from the crew.
Mike Massimino, they have now we're in the blackout.
Yep.
We thought that would be at 7:53, 54. It was about 20 seconds after that, and then we saw it go to blue. We saw it happen.
Yes, yeah.
So now they're there, and what are they doing
there.
right now? We can't see them, we can't hear them, we can't see what they're seeing. This is it. It's a blackout.
They are still engaged. Now, when we had our, I was thinking about this. We went through the blackout. I don't remember the blackout. Oh, now we're in the black. It's like you just keep looking at what you need to look at, monitoring what you need to monitor. It's going to be a really cool light show outside of the spacecraft. On the shuttle, you could look through the window. I was sitting behind the piloting commander, and through the overhead windows, if I held up a mirror, I could see the tail glowing red hot. And
since their launch back on April 1st.
So this is Mission Control. When we go back to the black image, there is a pinpoint of light that you can see maybe for a second or so when it pops up, which is the ship.
Until the end of the
so that we could see that part of it. It is important to know that after this, Tim, we will get images of what they saw.
Right.
Right. With Artemis 1, we did. Right. So all of what you call the light show that's going on outside that window, we will get it. We will see what they saw.
Absolutely.
It just obviously not in the moment.
I think the other thing that's important to recognize here, while we're waiting, is that just like we learned a lot about the reentry process from Artemis 1, we're going to learn a lot. Every reentry is a learning experience. There are actually teams of scientists that are deploying seismometers, which are what we usually use to measure earthquakes, like all around up and down the coast of Southern California, and they're going to measure that shock wave or that sonic boom as that spacecraft, as the Orion comes back into the atmosphere. And from the different signals that they get from the seismometers, they'll be able to learn about the properties of that shock wave and tell more about the reentry process and how it happened, and then they might be able to tweak things or refine things later on as well.
That's a big
the plasma buildup around the spacecraft and the repelling of that heat on Integrity's heat shield.
Visualization.
It's really bright orange red hot there.
And you can see the crew waiting, and they said they have visualization.
Oh, great! So you can see them. And as Tim was saying, what you pointed out, they're taking a lot of imagery, so they are recording everything, and they've got multiple cameras all over the place, I would imagine. So we'll get see what they saw eventually, I would imagine.
The photography on this mission will go down, right?
The cameras have improved a lot over the years. And they're really well trained. That was a big part of their training, was to document all this. So.
And what do those G-forces feel like as we're
So whatever you weigh, multiply it by, you don't have to say it out loud anymore. Whatever you weigh, multiply it by 4, and that's what you're feeling.
They've got a visual, by the way. They've got a visual.
Great. So that's what you're feeling. So it's like, I felt like we had 3 Gs like on Ascent. I felt like there were 3 big dudes sitting on me. That's what it's like.
All right, and we're getting close to splashdown here. Just an absolutely incredible moment as we cover this, and Anderson Cooper continues our special coverage right now.
Aaron, thank you. If you are just joining us, the astronauts of Artemis 2 are just minutes from splashdown in the Pacific, just off the coast of San Diego. 8:07 is the time of the splashdown we are anticipating. 360 special coverage. Right now, they're making their way through the most critical phase of re-entry after hitting the Earth's atmosphere at speeds approaching 25,000 miles an hour. Those speeds and the heat from it are causing a 6-minute communications blackout. That's where we're in right now. And I just want to be clear, what you're looking at is NASA's calling it a visualization. It's essentially an animation that NASA is putting out. This isn't something we've created. This is what NASA is putting out to give you a sense of what it looks like, what the capsule is experiencing, what the astronauts are experiencing. Shortly before that blackout began, Commander Reid Wiseman remarked that he had a great view of the moon out the window, but smaller than it was a few days ago. Houston replied, "We'll have to go back." And they certainly will. So now, having endured the steepest, hottest part of its descent, the Orion crew module is getting ready to slow to a few hundred miles an hour, after which a sequence of parachutes will slow it further to about 19 miles an hour, all of which you will see on camera when communication is restored in just a few minutes. It's going to slow to about 19 miles an hour, bringing Reid Wiseman, Mission Specialist Christina Koch, Mission Specialist Jeremy Hansen, who is a Canadian astronaut, and pilot Victor Glover back home. Joining me right now, CNN aviation correspondent Pete Montine, and 3 very distinguished former astronauts, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Jeanette Epps, and Garrett Reisman. I appreciate all of you being with us. So, Senator Kelly, as we are watching this, what does it feel like inside that capsule?
Well, they're going to get up to about 4 Gs, so it'll get pretty heavy. Your body will feel 4 times its weight on Earth.
And we're told helicopters have a visual of the capsule.
That's great. That's good. It's still a while until the chute's open. Right here, they're going to splash down to the 07. So they got a little ways to go here, and crew's busy now monitoring the trajectory of the spacecraft. Not much they can do about it, but Orion will do like a series of roll reversals to change its bank angle, to control its lift vector, to control the place it's going to land.
Obviously, Artemis 2, Jeanette, is coming in at a different trajectory, a re-entry trajectory than Artemis 1 was.
Yes, it is. Well, we've got a crew on here this time, so it's going to do slightly different maneuvers in order to make it a little bit more comfortable for the crew as well. And then when the parachutes come out, the crew will feel that force, and it'll, once that happens, it'll slow the craft down to a much slower speed, manageable speed, and then the main parachutes, the 3 main parachutes will deploy.
Pete, right now, what stands out to you? What should we all be watching?
This is the most dangerous part of this whole mission, and the crew is not out of danger yet. Remember that the heat shield faced problems after Artemis 1.
They're saying the trajectory is perfect, and we're starting to get intermittent views. I just want to be clear.
Yeah, and this view that we're seeing here, this is switched by NASA, it's directed by NASA, and this is coming from a P-3 aircraft flying high cover near the touchdown zone.
Your trajectory is nominal, and your recovery teams have visual.
So they have communications now.
This appears to be the end of the blackout.
No action for the enabled internal camera controller fail.
Big cheers from the viewing room here in Mission Control as voice communication reestablished with Commander Reid Wiseman. For America and a waiting world, integrity is 5.5 minutes away from coming home.
So all the concern about the space, about the heat shield, they seem good.
Well, not sure exactly where peak heating is.
Passing 100,000 feet now.
They're probably through that.
Peak heating would be about 4,000 to 5,000.
Yeah, about half the temperature of the surface of the sun. Also about twice as hot as the space shuttle tiles would get during re-entry. So it's hot. They're coming back at Mach 35. We'd hit the atmosphere about Mach 25 on the space shuttle.
And just in terms of the speed, Pete, that they're going to be landing, it'll slow Jenna, it's like 20 miles an hour, and that's what for the actual splashdown?
That's for the splashdown. So I'm not sure the exact speed, but like the trajectory they're coming in is so that they'll land in the exact spot so that the crew can pick them up immediately. Okay, and they're about to deploy chutes.
The interesting thing about this trajectory is they're not just hitting the atmosphere and re-entering. They actually skip off the atmosphere a little bit to slow down a little bit control the temperature, and then sort of re-enter like a second time.
4.5 minutes to splash down.
Here is the superlative, Anderson. We've gone from Mach 32
We're at 50,000
to,
feet.
at the surface of the ocean, the speed of a bike in 13 minutes time. This is an incredible feat of engineering here, and we're going to see the set of 11 different parachutes begin to deploy.
We're seeing it
They're clearly through
through the danger.
Yes. Now the critical part of this is
Look
making
at how
sure
fast that is. That's fine.
making sure the drogue chutes
Arrows are
open,
armed for forward
and then the
recovery
main
jettison.
parachutes.
For the astronauts inside that capsule, do they have a sense of how fast they're moving? I mean, are they seeing land so that they can have a sense? Because I've heard from other astronauts who have had a different kind of trajectory. They can see the land, so they get a sense of how fast they may be going. But this
Series of parachutes.
The drogue chutes.
And we're on drogues.
There.
So if they're looking out the window, they're looking out.
Listen.
So they can't see the water.
Two good drogue chutes. Next up,
We copy. We see them.
the deployment of pilot parachutes that will pull the main chutes out. Time to splash down 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
The drogue's essentially designed to sort of stabilize the spacecraft as it's making its initial descent here in the atmosphere. The atmosphere did a lot of the deceleration for the spacecraft, bringing it to about
Perfect
300
descent
miles
rate
an hour.
according to flight dynamics.
Good rates on 2 drogues.
We keep the same on board.
Awesome.
At this
Passing
point, how
through
fast do you think they're
10,000
going?
feet.
10,000 feet.
Still on
right now.
drogues.
They're probably going 300 miles an hour or something like that.
Maybe a little less, yeah.
And there goes the drogue. That's good. And those are the main chutes.
Main chute deploy.
The main chutes, when fully
We're
deployed,
at 5,000 feet.
roughly the size of a football field. 3 different parachutes here.
Search and recovery
328
beacon has been activated on integrity.
feet in surface area.
And we have 3 good main chutes.
Now they're in really good shape.
Good 3 main
is going
chutes,
really
good
well.
briefing,
Yes.
good descent rate.
Good rates, and we see 3 good-looking parachutes.
Just like the previous 10 days of the mission.
Right.
Integrity. Cabin pressure indicates no need for hydrazine checks.
Integrity copies.
The next big test here is when
This is a perfect descent for integrity. Its crew sounding hail and hearty on board.
integrity
Time to
touches down.
splash down 1 minute, 15 seconds.
Will it be right side up or upside down? And that is the big question here. And bags will deploy, 5 of them, filled with helium, around the circumference of the spacecraft in order to right it if it lands upside down. If it lands
Integrity
right side
about
up,
to complete
all
a journey
okay.
spanning 694,481 miles from its launch from the Kennedy Space Center back on April 1st, and a trip around the moon.
This is the first time the Orion capsule is doing this.
No, the first Artemis mission, it was the Orion capsule, but with no crew members
no
on board.
crews.
We're about a minute out to splashdown, and so far the timing has been really good. The estimate was that this was happen at 7:07:07 Central Time in Houston.
Passing through
For an
1,000
homage
feet.
there.
And the naval vessel, I mean, they are right there. I mean, they are not far from the splashdown.
All very close to the ship.
Very close.
It seems they have this.
Wow.
There's touchdown.
There it is.
Should be about 60 miles or so, I think, from San Diego.
And this is the view from the USS John Murtha.
Integrity, splash down, sending post-landing command now.
Splashdown confirmed.
So now they have teams who are already on the water who will go to them. They'll have divers who will check the outside.
There are 4 Navy helicopters standing by on the USS John Northup. 2 are camera ships, 2 are part of the recovery operation here.
A chapter of the exploration of our celestial neighbor is complete. Integrity's astronauts back on Earth.
Thank you, Jesus.
Incredible.
And the landing and support officer reports the vehicle is stable 1. We still will be deploying the crew module uprighting system to maintain that orientation. A perfect bullseye splashdown for Integrity and its 4 astronauts.
The reference there, of course, are the helium bags that I referred to before. Obviously not needed in this case because the Integrity and Orion capsule is upright. Would be needed if it was upside down. They're still going to do the test anyway on this long litany of milestones and tests on what has essentially been a 10-day long test flight of the Space Launch System and the Orion capsule, paving the way to Artemis 3 in 2027. If anything here went wrong, this would have pushed the timeline.
The unofficial splashdown time, 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m. Central Time. We'll get that refined for you. That would put the end of the mission at a mission elapsed time of 9 days, 1 hour, 31 minutes, 35 seconds.
And one critical aspect of this is going to be to take a close look at the heat shield and do the necessary analysis, make sure it performed as they expected.
After Artemis 1, that was so critical because it was clear that
splashdown occurring in the Pacific, southwest of San Diego, at 7:07 and 47 seconds p.m.
Integrity Houston, comm check on VLDR.
Boats are there fast.
Those are boats, divers,
These are the fast boats.
with medical personnel as well on them to do quick medical checks.
and essentially they do a bit of a triage on site
We have you the same.
to,
We'll meet you
to
over
figure
in
out if there's
Finding.
anything amiss among the 4 crew on board Orion.
Perfect communications
The
established.
likelihood
We're
that we
hearing
hear from NASA is that Christina
we're
Koch
hearing
will
from
be
the
the first out.
Yeah, there's a full medical team on the boat to check them out.
Reid Wiseman reporting 4 green crew members. That is not their complexion. That is the fact that they're in great condition. That's what that means.
She's probably
So
sitting right
stable
next to
1,
the hatch.
upright. The crew
Probably why she's
module
out
uprighting
first.
system is being deployed. The 5 airbags being inflated through helium to maintain the upright configuration for the vehicle. This was a textbook entry and a textbook touchdown for Integrity. Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen back on Earth after a journey around the moon.
What does that feel like? I mean, after being in
home?
space, yeah, it sounds like being on the water to just being home and having gone through a re-entry. I mean, they're hitting the water, say 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's like a 20-mile-an-hour car
A little bit of a car crash. My 4 missions were all aboard the space shuttle, so I didn't experience anything like this. But I will say, like, emotionally, they should be, right? Incredibly proud of what they've accomplished, the mission. They must be a little bit sad that it's over. You know, I felt that way when I came back from space. But they're also looking forward to seeing their families again and having the opportunity